All righty. We are coming to you live, and I got to tell you, I am fired up. My name is Brian Hilliard. I'm here with Kierney Frampton. We are part of the only networking team out here in the US, and only if you have not heard, it is the group for people who like people. We're all about building relationships. We're all about building business. One of the things that we talk about in terms of only that we think makes us a little bit different is that we are able to build and strike that balance between building a relationship and building business. I think sometimes people, they join maybe a networking group or they're going out and doing networking and they meet a bunch of good people, but maybe not turning that into business as much. And what we try to do is we try to be able to create an environment where you're getting referrals from the members, where you are getting collaborations with the members, and sometimes you even get business from the members as well in terms of direct business. That doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes it does. And that is what we are all about. So we are going to address one of those questions. Kierney, give us a little wave if you don't mind again. And she is going to be able to help us out here as well. And let's get us started. So the question that we have, Kierney, that we're going to cover today, and I'm thinking this is going to be an ongoing conversation, to be honest with you, is what is it that you can do to get more business from your networking, and to do so in a way that's not being pushy or salesy, because I think that's a big thing for a lot of people. And one of the points that I will make right off the bat, and then obviously you can jump in, is this notion of you do have to build the relationship first. And we'll talk about some next steps and what you can do later and stuff like that. But a preceding factor to any referral, in my experience, is building the relationship first. And being a good person, going out there, helping out. We can get into some of that, but building a relationship first is a huge first step, I think. And the first thing is see if you agree with that or not. That's fine. And then maybe a little bit about what that's looked like in your own, networking world, because you do a lot of stuff out in the UK as well.
Definitely. Yeah. One of the things that I was going to say was relationships leading to revenue ultimately, right, when they're nurtured in the correct way. That's probably the key emphasis to put on that point. I think to answer the question, it's probably a shift in mindset. So thinking networking, but then seeing it as business growth potential. So how can you create opportunities for yourself and for your business with the people that you're meeting? I think also, and I wonder if you all agree with this, it's a long-term strategy. I think a lot of people come to networking thinking, I'll turn up to the meeting, I'll meet the people, and then my inbox will be flooded with sales potential and opportunities to collaborate. It's not how it works. So I think shifting that initial mindset is really important.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That's a really good point. Mindset, that's actually a preceding factor. That's a really good point, because mindset, and I'll get to the other point that you mentioned as well. You have to have, so let's break this down for people. You might have somebody listening that's like, listen, I already have the mindset of building relationships. Okay. And I'm going in there doing the right thing. Still, Brian and Kierney, why is that? Like, what's different? What's the problem? Well, I would say that you want to have a mindset of helping people, but you also want to have a mindset of, and really we're getting into law of attraction. We won't do that today, but you also have to have a mindset of taking yes for an answer and attracting the good stuff that comes to you. You know what I mean? I think sometimes we can be too others oriented. I play a lot of basketball, and there's two kind of approaches. There's somebody who is scoring first, so you can be a point guard and you're scoring first, and that's fine. You'll always take 35 points at the National Basketball Association. That's fine. But there's also a assist first. So there's a score first, and then there's somebody who's going to get you 12 to 15 points, but they'll also get you, a dozen or so assists, somebody else scoring. Okay. What you really want to be able to do is what I would call a scoring playmaker. Okay. So a scoring playmaker is someone who can get you 25 a game and a half a dozen to maybe double-digit assists, and somebody that is able to, and here's the term, make others better on your team. Okay. And if you take that approach, and we now come and put that into a networking standpoint, what does it look like to be a playmaker and a scoring? I think a lot of times we come from this pass first approach because we don't want to be a score first approach because we think score first is synonymous with sales first. I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
I'm on board with that. But we also want to be a playmaker that enables you to be able to do the scoring and stuff as well. And I think that gets to your point of mindset.
Completely. I thought of a term when you were talking about that, kind of like lead with the networking behavior that you want to see from others.
Good one.
And one way that we explain that is the give first mentality. Again, another mindset mentality type thing.
Right.
But adding value is core to that give first mentality. So, I mean, there's hundreds of ways to provide value in a networking instance, but to name a couple, it could be making introductions to people that are in your network that you're sharing with the people that you're meeting. It could be giving advice. That's a really good way of providing value, supporting other people's events or their social media posts, or engaging in their content, giving them feedback. There's really good way of getting value from networking. It's a live way of receiving feedback on things that you're working on. Your marketing message, there's a lead magnet that you've created. The opportunities are endless.
Right. No, you're hitting the nail on the head, because I think what happens is people think that if I'm not going to go and be able to buy something from this person, that I'm not giving value. Right. And they think that it's a binary choice. I'm either, buying stuff or, I'm, I guess, not adding value. And you're absolutely right. That is absolutely not the case, because and let's break this down for a quick second. There's a referral, which we all understand. There is an introduction, which I'm a big proponent of. That's a big part of my game, the introduction to a would-be collaboration partner. I would say 85% of my game is that. Okay. Then there is what you talked about, adding value. Just, hey, listen, you know what? Have you thought about this, or this? Right? Doing so in a way that's acceptable and not punitive in nature. I call that the 7th grade math teacher approach. You're not doing that. Okay. What else did you say? Did you say some other things? You said did you say some? You tell me. I think you said something else. Go ahead.
Supporting events, social posts, engagement, that kind of thing. That doesn't cost you anything.
Right. That doesn't cost you one thing. Hey, listen, I'm going to like this. I'm going to share this. I'm a big proponent on sharing if I feel like it. You know what I mean? I mean, as long as you don't have something that I am just totally in disagreement with, okay, I'm probably going to share it if you're in my network. I don't have to go through this huge vetting process. Oh, well, hold on. Let me say, out it goes. You know what I mean? And do some of those different things. Okay. So far, what we said is mindset is a preceding factor to this. And then we also talked about relationships. Let's talk about one other thing, and I'll give people 3 things to walk away with here. And we might even come back and do this again for some on this subject. We'll see. But mindset, relationships, and then I would also say, I would actually say, in terms of getting business, you have to have a solid networking introduction. In our Only Circles, we talk about creating a clear, consistent marketing message. We actually have a masterclass on that. Okay. And that's one of the things that we are able to provide with our members, among other things, where they're able to come in. That's, it's something where we say to them, listen, we want to get clear on who you're working with, clear on what these people are looking for, and clear on how maybe you even work with them. Because one of the things that I always say a lot is, if you're not getting, as a business owner, we have to take responsibility. We have to do 2 things. We have to take responsibility, and we have to look at our external world as a reflection of our internal world. We have to do 2 things. Okay. If we're not getting enough business from our networking, for whatever reason, we have to take responsibility, and we have to take a look at what it is that we're doing or not doing. Do we have the right mindset? Have we, put out a networking message that makes sense? I mean, I know you go out and network and things like that when you're talking to people. I mean, would you agree with that, or what's your kind of take on that?
Definitely. One of the things that I kind of jotted down before we came onto this live was one of the networking don'ts, I suppose, and that's don't assume people understand what you do or how it is that you can help them.
Good.
That adjusts all the time. It's not a fixed thing. And I think, to your point of having a really clear and consistent marketing message with your introduction, you're not necessarily going to get it right first time. And to
Right.
my point before about gaining feedback, have the confidence to ask what's resonating with people in the room. How are your words, connecting with them? Is it,
Right.
do you need to tweak certain things? Is it more of an emotional draw from the things that you say that is going to resonate with that person? And I think, as your services adapt, as your product adapts, as you adapt as a business person, that also needs to reflect in the things that you're saying. And the way that you can help them. We've already talked about a multitude of things that you can do to add value. That list goes on. So see what feels comfortable to you, how you like to put your energy into networking, and then provide that for people.
That's exactly right. And I think that, a lot of times people think the networking introduction, because we're calling it a networking introduction, is simply just an introduction there. That's part of it, but it's
Yeah.
also during the one-to-ones. How many times have people been asked, well, how can I help you, right? If you're a good person and you've already provided introductions, forget referrals. You're a good person who's provided introductions, forget referrals. They're going to, during a one-to-one, they're going to ask you, listen, what can I do for you? Like, 50% of the people are going to say, maybe more, what can I do for you? Right. And what you want to be doing is you want to be able to have something. And how many times have we said, oh, well, I'm just looking for a blah, 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 blah. Right. And it's this kind of scattershot, I don't know, general direction of things. And that's not what we want to be able to do. Instead, we want to be able to have a conversation around what is it that you can do, be clear. So if somebody asked us, what I would say is, listen, we've got a group. It's an online networking group of individuals, like-minded individuals, close-knit group. We meet online monthly, 90 minutes. We're really good at not only passing referrals amongst each other, but also in building collaborative relationships. We feel that if you're a good person and you do the right things, good things are going to come to you. If you want to be a part of that, or if you know of somebody who'd like to be a part of it, they can come as our guest. Like, it's a real, you get the value, you understand, you get clear, right? And you're able to be like, oh, okay, yeah. As a matter of fact, I would like to be able to come to this or not, or I do know somebody who might be able to work with it or not. Okay. But when you're doing that, you're able to do it in a way that really makes sense and resonates with people. So I think that makes a lot of sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap us up for this one. We will be back a little bit later on. Later on, Brian, that sounds a little bit nebulous. Later on, you'll be fine. Okay. We'll be back later on to talk a little bit more about this whole concept of networking and monetizing your networking. And just like I said earlier, if you want to be able to come out as our guest, we'd love to have you. Our meetings are 90 minutes each. They're monthly. We do around the room introductions. We then do a breakout, 10 minutes, one-on-one. Then we do a little education. Fourth part of the meeting is we go back and do some more one-on-one. And then at the end, ask, acknowledge. We get you in, we get you out. We respect your time. It's a little bit like being double parked at the airport, but not exactly. Like, there's not a cop actually behind you. Right. But like, the concept is we respect your time. That's the point I'm trying to make. Okay. So that's what it is. If you want to be able to do that, you can see the scroll here on the bottom. You can come as our guest. We're not asking you for any money. Come see what it's like to network with a cool group of people online. All right, Kierney, listen, we thank you for coming on. Thanks for co-hosting this with me. That's Kierney Frampton. My name is Brian Hilliard, and we say thank you so much for your time. You guys have a good day.
Thanks, Brian.